Yes, good morning children. Today I'll be explaining you what is pulse. Now when the heart beats, it pumps blood into the arteries. Because of pumping of blood, the arteries, they dilate. That is, they expand in size, and a wave of dilation spreads throughout them. So blood, when with the pressure, flows in arteries. Because of the elastic walls of the arteries, to accommodate the blood coming with pressure, the arteries, this blood vessel will dilate. And as the blood flows further, the wave of dilation keeps on moving further. The dilation can be felt on the artery located superficially, as the artery located in your wrist below the base of thumb, which is called as radial artery. This below the thumb, you can press with the fingers of other hand and you can feel the dilation of the artery. This is the radial artery, only artery which comes up in the skin superficially. This wave of dilation is called as pulse. So pulse is the alternative expansion and elastic recoil of the wall of artery during ventricular systole. That is, when the blood flows in the artery, the dilation of artery will take place. The blood moves further, the dilation wave will move further with it, and the area behind that from where the blood has flowed forward, that part, the elastic wall of the artery will recoil and will come back to its original size. So this is how the alternate expansion and contraction of the walls of artery takes place, which is the cause of pulse. The pulse rate is equal to the rate of heartbeat, as the pulse will be felt only when the blood is pumped into the arteries, and the blood is pumped when the heart beats. Now we'll come to the blood vessels. What are blood vessels? They are highly branched fine tubes or channels through which the blood flows. Those closed vessels are called as blood vessels carrying blood in it. There are three types of blood vessels in human body: the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. One by one we'll do. The arteries, these blood vessels are distributory in function. Their function is to distribute the oxygenated blood from the heart to the various parts of the body, except pulmonary artery, which carries deoxygenated blood. All leaving pulmonary artery, rest of the arteries which are present in our body, they carry only oxygenated blood. Now we'll find the arteries, they have thick muscular walls, and the outermost layer is thick muscular wall. Inner to it is the elastic wall, and then the opening space is present in the empty space is present in the center, which is called as lumen. So this is the external most layer, which is made up of connective tissue. Then the second layer, which is made up of the muscles and elastic fibers, this brown color layer. And the innermost layer is the cavity, which is called as lumen. Arteries have narrow lumen because of these muscular layer and the external connective tissue layer. They are thick. So the walls are thick, because of which the space in the center is less. Blood in the arteries flows in jerks, because from the heart it is pumped with a jerk into the arteries, and with a pressure with jerks the blood flows in the arteries. The wall of artery is made up of three concentric layers, as I have told you. The tunica or external layer, it is the outermost layer made up of connective tissue. Then the middle layer, called as tunica media, it is the middle very thick coat made up of smooth walled muscles and elastic connective tissue together. And third is the innermost layer called endothelium, which is made up of single layered flat cells which rest on the elastic layer. That is the endothelium layer, and inner to the endothelium layer is a cavity or a space which is called as lumen, into which the blood flows. Now the structure of artery is such that they can expand when the blood is pumped into them, and when the blood is not being pumped, they recoil. Because of the elastic muscular wall, because of its elasticity in nature, they will contract, they will recoil, coming back to their original structure and size because of the elastic nature. So this dilation of the artery and then recoiling and again contracting, it helps the blood to flow through them. Valves are not present in arteries, and it is not because these are not needed, as the blood is being pumped into the arteries. From the heart, the blood is pumped into the arteries, and the arteries do not need the valves, because in arteries the blood will never flow back. There will be no danger of backward flow of blood. So no valves are being provided in the arteries. Next blood vessel will come is the veins. These blood vessels are called as collecting vessels, because their function is to collect the blood from different parts of the body and bring it back to the heart. They collect deoxygenated blood from the body parts. Their function is to collect the deoxygenated blood, and the function of artery is to distribute the oxygenated blood. So they collect deoxygenated blood, except a vein which is called as pulmonary vein. Leaving pulmonary vein, rest of all the veins, their function is to carry the deoxygenated blood. And pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle of the heart. Now, the walls of vein is also made up of these three layers. That is the outermost connective tissue layer, then the middle muscular layer, and the innermost single-celled wall layer, which is called as endothelium, and this blue color space that they have shown is the lumen. But the walls of the veins compared to arteries are thin. The connective tissue layer, the muscular layer, they are all thin walled cells. They are all thin walled layers. As a result, the cavity inside, the space inside is quite wide, and so the veins have wide lumen, because they have to collect the blood from different parts. So they require wide lumen. Then we'll find that these veins, they have thin walls and they are less elastic also, because the blood is not pumped into them with pressure. In the veins, the blood is not pumped into it by the heart. Their function is to collect the blood from different parts of the body. So for that reason, their walls are neither elastic nor thick walls. So they have thin walls. Secondly, they have wide lumen because they collect the blood. They do not distribute. But all the veins are provided with valves. Why? Because they collect the blood against gravity also, to bring it towards the heart from different parts of the body. So when the veins collect the blood from the lower parts of the body against gravity to bring it back to the heart, so there are chances of backflow of the blood. So to prevent that, the veins are provided with these valves. See, the function of valves is to allow the blood to flow in one direction and prevent their backflow. See, the blood is flowing from the lower part to the upper side of the vein. Once it reaches here, the blood tends to falls down due to gravity, but these valves, they immediately close and will not allow the blood to flow back. This is the structure of vein. And main differences between arteries and veins, it's given in your book. I have explained you in detail. You go through these points, and if any point is not clear to you, you can ask from me. Then third blood vessel are the capillaries. These are very thin walled and is made up of only single layered endothelium layer, the innermost layer, single layered cells. The middle layer of muscle cells and the outermost layer of connective tissue is absent in it. So they are thin walled blood vessels and they are present at the junction of arteries and veins. The arteries break up into their branches called arterioles. Arterioles break up into fine branches called capillaries. Then the capillaries will slowly reunite all these capillaries to form small blood vessels, branch of vein called venule, and so many venules combine to form one main vein. So the capillaries is present at the junction between the artery and vein at the joining point. Arteries will always break up into capillaries and capillaries will join to form veins. Now, being thin-walled blood vessel, the capillaries plays very important role in our body. So the function of capillaries is, because of thin wall of capillaries, this facilitate the exchange of various materials between the blood and the tissue, body cells through the walls of capillaries. Like oxygen, it diffuses from the blood to the body cells through capillaries. Carbon dioxide, it diffuses from the body cells to the blood. And the nutrients diffuse from the blood to the body cells. Wherever the food is required, the blood will carry that, and through the capillaries it is being filtered out and is given to the body cells. All the metabolic waste that are formed in our body cells, they are being collected by the blood through the capillaries. Then white blood cells also pass out through the walls of blood capillaries at the time of invasion of pathogens. This is called diapedesis. The capillaries are capable of vasodilation and vasoconstriction. We have done this in class 9th in the chapter of skin. In vasodilation, when the blood vessels dilate during summers, then the flow of blood increases. The blood supply to the body parts and skin increases. And during winters, the blood vessels constrict. Then it reduces the blood supply to the body skin, because of which the skin color changes to yellow, pale at the time of vasoconstriction, or the skin becomes red or pink at the time of vasodilation. Capillaries are formed by the fine branching of arterioles. I have told you arteries break up into its branches called arterioles. Each arteriole will further break up into fine blood capillaries called as fine blood branches called as capillaries. From the point where these capillaries terminate and arise new capillaries that keep on uniting progressively, and capillaries reunite again to form the venule, which is a branch of vein and which in turn form veins. It means the end of artery is the beginning of the vein. So children, till here I have done today. Tomorrow I'll be taking the last part of this chapter, and you go through this video, and any problem if you have, you can discuss with me during the query time. Thank you.